And we are back. NFL Week 18 predictions. The final regular season one. Don't worry, we're still going to do one more after this, predicting every single playoff game. But for the regular season and for potentially your team, this will be the final time this season they will be in one of these. So without further ado, went 9-7 last week, 168-87-1 on the year. Getting my lock of the week wrong with the Steelers, who lost to the Browns. To quickly recap the games I did get wrong, though, we have the Lions, Vikings, Texans, Chargers, Ravens, Packers, Buccaneers, Dolphins, Steelers, Browns, which I mentioned, Eagles, Bills, and Rams, Falcons. Don't worry, I will also be breaking down playoff scenarios every single game I go through. I also plan on making a video talking about every team's playoff scenarios for this Week 18 game, with it being a long week before the first game. Without any more delay, Saturday, January 3rd, no Thursday games. We have 4:30 p.m. the Panthers and Buccaneers. Now the Panthers 8-8 coming off of a loss to the Seahawks, while the Buccaneers 7-9 coming off of a loss to the Dolphins. This game is very big for both sides. Panthers, if they win, they get the division. Buccaneers, they need to win, and they need the Saints to win. The Saints play the Falcons. If the Saints win and the Buccaneers win, they get the division. If the Panthers and the 4 seed the playoff spot, that's both teams' only way in is through that division. The Panthers, they either need to win or they need to hope the Falcons win, who play the Saints. So I'm going to pick the Buccaneers here. I think we're going to be waiting until Sunday around 4 o'clock to find out who is going to be the NFC South champion. I'm taking the Buccaneers to win this one for now. Moving on to our 8 p.m. game, we have the Seahawks and 49ers. Seahawks 13-3 coming off of a win over the Panthers. 49ers 12-4 coming off of a win over the Bears. The Seahawks are both teams, if they win, they get the 1 seed. For the Seahawks, if they lose, they are the 5 seed. That's it. They're either the 1 seed or the 5 seed, depending on if they win or lose. The 49ers, if they win, they're the 1 seed. If they lose, then it depends on what happens in the Rams game. The Rams can jump them with a win. 49ers, if the 49ers lose and the Rams lose, they stay at the 5 seed. If the 49ers lose and the Rams win, who the Rams play the Cardinals, then the 49ers will drop all the way down to the 6 seed. I have the 49ers, though, winning this one. I think home field advantage is going to play a lot. I think Kyle Shanahan, he's been in these situations before. This team has, been doing it longer. You got a second-year head coach, a quarterback who has struggled against good teams occasionally. Even though they do well, he does throw interceptions a lot. I do think the 49ers are going to win this one. Moving on to the Colts-Texans. Colts 8-8, Texans 11-5. Colts are eliminated from the playoffs after losing to the Jaguars, while the Texans clinched their playoff spot after a win over the Chargers. The Texans are currently the 5 seed. However, they can jump all the way to the 3 seed, drop all the way down to the 7 seed. We're not going to break down the situations in this video because there are so many. There's, multiple games that could impact. So I'm picking the Texans to win this one. Their defense is so good. This being played in Houston with, seeding on the line. They're obviously going to try their very best. So, yeah, give me the Texans. Next, we have the Browns and Bengals. Browns 4-12. They get the win over the Steelers. Bengals 6-10. They get the win over the Cardinals. This game has no playoff implications. Both teams eliminated. The only thing this might decide is draft positioning. And for pride, I'm taking the Bengals to win this one. They're the better team. I think they're going to win this one, and it's going to be a very low-scoring game for people's expectations. That Browns defense is going to cause the Bengals to only score like 20 points, which I say is low. That's not really that low. But, yeah, give me the Bengals. Saints-Falcons. Saints 6-10, Falcons 7-9. Saints coming off of the win over the Titans, while the Falcons coming off of a win over the Rams. Now, these two teams, their games don't implicate anything for the playoffs. However, they do for the winner of the NFC South. As I mentioned, if the Panthers lose their game, which I have them doing, then the Buccaneers would need the Saints to win. If the Falcons win, no matter what, the Panthers are in. If the Saints win, then, assuming the Buccaneers win, they would be in. If the Saints win, if the Saints win and the Panthers win, it still goes to the Panthers. I have the Falcons winning this one. So if my predictions stay true, it would be the Panthers getting the 4 seed due to the three-way tiebreaker between the Falcons, Panthers, and Buccaneers, who would all be 8 and 9. So, yes, there we go. Next, we have Packers-Vikings. Packers 9-6-1. They're coming off of a loss to the Ravens. Vikings 8-8, coming off of a win over the Lions. Now, this game has no playoff implications either. The Packers are already locked in at the 7th seed. No matter what happens, win, loss, all the other teams could lose around them. Does not matter. They're getting the 7th seed regardless. Vikings, they are already eliminated. The only thing they're playing for is pride and draft positioning. I'm going to pick the Vikings to win this one, though. Green Bay already being locked into their spot. I imagine they're probably going to be resting their starters. So, should be an easy win for the Vikings. Next, we have the Titans and Jaguars. Titans 3-13, coming off of a loss to the Saints, while the Jaguars coming off of a win, a win over the Colts. Now, the Jaguars, they can also drop anywhere from, I want to say, the 1 seed all the way down to the 7. So, their spot is, they are guaranteed a playoff spot, but they are not guaranteed what they're going to play. They could go any direction. I have them winning this game, though, so at worst, they're going to be the 3 seed, assuming my pick is right, and I'm so confident in that I'm picking them as my lock of the week. For the final time, last one of this season, every week, I pick one team as my lock of the week. If they win, that's great. If not, then it's basically the ESPN Eliminator Challenge if you've ever played in that or know about it, except you don't get eliminated. It just counts as a loss. So I'm only allowed to pick the same team once, can't pick them again. Jaguars, one of the best teams in the league in my opinion. Haven't picked them yet. It makes sense to pick them in a game where, they're 12-4. Their opponent's 3-13 and is being played in Jacksonville. So, there we go. Moving on, we have the Cowboys and Giants. Cowboys 7-8-1 coming off of a win over the Commanders. Giants 3-13 coming off of a win over the Raiders. Both these teams are eliminated from the playoffs. Nothing to play for besides draft positioning and, yet again, pride. A lot of these final games are division battles. In fact, it looks like all of them are. So, yeah. I'm going to go with the Cowboys on this one. Cowboys going for that 500 season. Giants can't get the number 1 overall pick, but however, they, are still fighting for, a good pick. Pretty much pick 2 through 5 is, in their range. We'll see which one they end up getting. Moving on to our 425 games, we have the Cardinals at Rams. Cardinals 3-13 off of a loss to the Bengals. Rams 11-5 coming off of a loss to the Falcons. The Cardinals are eliminated from the playoffs, so they have nothing to play for besides draft positioning. While the Rams, they are playing for the 5 or 6 seed. They cannot win their division. So what they are playing for is if they lose, no matter what, if they lose or the 49ers win, they get the 6 seed. However, if they win and the 49ers lose, they would jump up to the 5 seed. Unfortunately, I already had the 49ers winning, so that doesn't matter. But I do have the Rams winning this one, so, might as well. Moving on now, we have Chiefs, Raiders. Both teams eliminated. Chiefs coming off of a loss to the Broncos, while Raiders coming off of a loss to the Giants. Both eliminated, like I said, nothing but draft positioning. Raiders, if they lose, they are guaranteed the number 1 pick, though, so I'm going to pick the Chiefs. They might try and tank their way to it, even though I don't think it's allowed in the NFL. They'll try and, fly under the radar. Commanders, Eagles. Commanders 4-12 coming off of a loss to the Cowboys. They are eliminated from the playoffs, only playing for draft seed. Eagles 11-5 coming off of a win over the Bills. They have clinched both a playoff spot and a division. However, they still are fighting for seeding. They can get the 3 seed or the 2 seed. They currently hold the 3 seed. If they lose or the Bears win, then they would get the 3 seed. However, if the Bears lose and the Eagles win, they would jump up to the 2 seed. With that being said, give me the Eagles. Next, we have Dolphins, Patriots. Dolphins 7-9 coming off of a win over the Buccaneers. They are eliminated from the playoffs. While we have the Patriots, who are 13-3, coming off of a win over the Jets. They have clinched their division and playoff spot. They are playing for seeding, though. They can go anywhere from the 1 seed to the 3 seed, depending on what happens with other teams. The Jaguars and Broncos being the 2 that affect them. I'm picking the Patriots to win this one. The Lions 8-8, the Bears 11-5. Bro, my throat is destroyed. Hold on. All right, Lions. They are 8-8. They are eliminated from the playoffs, so they have nothing to play for after losing to the Vikings. Meanwhile, the Bears, who are 11-5, they are playing for their seeding. They came off of the loss to the 49ers. They need a win or an Eagles loss to get the 2 seed. If they lose and the Eagles win, they would drop to the 3 seed. Unfortunately for them, I have the Lions winning this one. We saw it earlier in the year. I think history will repeat itself. I think this will be a close game, though, instead of the blowout. But I do think the Lions are going to snake away with the win this one. And the Bears will drop down to the 3 seed. Next, we have Chargers-Broncos. Very big playoff implications here. Chargers 11-5, Broncos 13-3. Chargers coming off of a loss to the Texans. Broncos coming off of a win over the Chiefs. Now, this on paper could have been a really big one if the Chargers would have won last week, because it would have been winner got the AFC West. But fortunately for the Broncos, the Chargers ended up losing. Now, for the Chargers, they are fighting for the 5, 6, or 7 seed. Depending on what happens with their game, the Texans and the Bills could all implicate this. They currently hold the 6 seed. The Broncos currently hold the 1 seed. If they win, they get the 1 seed. However, if they lose, the Patriots and the Jaguars both have a chance to jump them. So they could drop all the way down to the 3 seed with a loss. With that being said, I do have the Chargers winning this one. So the Broncos could be in jeopardy of where they're playing or if they're even playing. Because obviously the 1 seed gets that first round bye. That's why it's so highly valued. That extra week off and week of preparation could be huge. But alas, I have the Chargers winning this one, so the Broncos, assuming my pick is right, would drop all the way to the 3 seed. Next, we have the Jets and Bills. Jets 3-13, Bills 11-5. Jets eliminated from the playoffs long ago, losing to the Patriots though, and then the Bills losing to the Eagles 11-5. They are in the playoffs, however, they are fighting for seeding. They are currently the 7th seed, but they can jump up to the 5 or the 6 seed, depending on what happens with the Texans and Chargers. I do have the Bills winning this one, though. And then finally, 8:20 p.m., our final regular season game. Ravens 8-8, Steelers 9-7. Ravens coming off of the win over the Packers. Steelers coming off of a loss to the Browns. This one is a very, very simple. Win and in. Winner gets the 4 seed. Loser is out. Plus, it's the AFC North. These are the 2 biggest teams in the AFC North. Always had that fierce rivalry between the 2. And boy, oh boy, what a way for it to end is Week 18, winning in for the division. I'm giving it to Aaron Rodgers. His Cinderella story is going to continue his, final year most likely. They're going to win this one at home. Give me the Steelers. So, to quickly recap my picks, I have the Buccaneers, 49ers, Texans, Bengals, Falcons, Vikings, Jaguars, Cowboys, Rams, Raiders, Eagles, Patriots, Lions, Chargers, Bills, Steelers all winning, with the Jaguars as my lock of the week. I know I said Chiefs winning, but I actually have the Raiders. I lied. So yeah. The current playoff picture is the Broncos and Seahawks at the 1 seed, Patriots, Bears at the 2 seeds, 7 seeds being the Bills, Packers, 3 seeds being the Jaguars, Eagles, 6 seeds being the Chargers, Rams, 4 seeds being the Steelers, Panthers, 5 seeds being the Texans, 49ers. I'll do my best to explain what the playoff picture would be under my, predictions, with the 1 seeds going to the Patriots and the 49ers, the 2 seeds going to the Jaguars and the Eagles, who would play the 7 seeds, being the... 1 second. Gotta look back at my picks for this one. The 7 seeds would be the Bills and the Packers. The 3 seeds would be the Broncos and the Bears, who would play the 6 seed Chargers and Rams. And then the 4 seeds would be the Steelers and Panthers, who would go against the 5 seed Seahawks would be the NFC, and then Texans AFC. Sorry, that was very complicated. All right, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. I did. I'll see you guys next time with our playoff power rankings. Goodbye. Hope you enjoyed.